Favorite thing I've done this offseason? Man, just get back to playing basketball. Like, honestly, like, I didn't get to play last year, so.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like when I touched the basketball to start warming up before the practice even started, that's probably when I felt pretty comfortable. But, I mean,
The drama surrounding Team USA did not erupt in a single loud moment. It unfolded quietly, almost invisibly, inside a gym where power dynamics mattered more than box scores. What was supposed to be a routine bounce-back stretch for the program instead became the moment everything finally snapped. After months of tension, careful silence, and answers designed to reveal nothing, the head coach finally spoke. And in doing so, she didn't calm the storm. She confirmed it. A decision framed as discipline and chemistry landed as a public dismissal, and the impact was immediate.
I've been getting back to where I wanted to be and then getting even better. So that's been kind of my focus. And, you know, this has kind of been.
Caitlin Clark didn't argue. She didn't leak frustration. She didn't turn the situation into a spectacle. She simply walked away, and that silence echoed louder than any statement ever could. 4 weeks leading into that moment, the signs were already there. Insiders had hinted that Clark's presence inside camp felt different, colder, almost clinical. Not the treatment of a centerpiece or even a developing star, but the handling of someone who didn't quite fit the vision. During scrimmages, rotations tightened around her. Possessions flowed past her. The most dangerous shooter in the sport became a bystander, parked in space without purpose while veterans ran actions that deliberately avoided her strengths. For a player whose entire game depends on rhythm and trust, the message was unmistakable. This wasn't development. It was containment. And when clarity was quietly requested, none came. No explanation, no adjustment, just distance. In elite environments, that kind of silence is never accidental. It is instructional. The breaking point wasn't the benching itself. It was what followed. When asked publicly about integrating young superstars,
Worked so hard. Like, I haven't taken a break since, you know, honestly, since the beginning of the WNBA season, with just all my rehab.
the response leaned heavily on hierarchy and chemistry, language that sounded reasonable on the surface but felt final underneath. There was no openness to evolution, no hint of compromise, only a clear line drawn between the system and the star. To casual observers, it sounded like leadership. To anyone paying attention, it sounded like exclusion. And in that moment, Clark understood something important. This was no longer about basketball fit. It was about control. She didn't fight it. She didn't make herself the story. She simply stopped showing up. Invitations were declined. Focus shifted. The decision was quiet, calculated, and devastating in its simplicity. Walking away wasn't emotional. It was logical. And once that choice was made, the consequences rippled far beyond the gym. Behind closed doors, panic set in. Because while Team USA has long presented itself as a pure basketball institution, everyone involved understands the modern reality. Visibility matters. Ratings matter. Sponsorships matter. And Caitlin Clark sits at the center of all three. The numbers didn't need to be explained. They were already known. Viewership surged when she entered the league. Arenas sold out. Broadcasts became events. That momentum was supposed to carry directly into the next international cycle. Instead, it hit a wall. Sponsors didn't invest millions to watch the most recognizable player in the sport sit silently on the sidelines or disappear altogether. Pressure began building, not publicly, not through leaks, but quietly and firmly. Because authority doesn't pay broadcast partners. Stars do. This is where the balance of power shifted in a way Team USA was not prepared for. For decades, the national program held all the leverage. Players needed the Olympic stage for legitimacy. That equation no longer holds. Clark already has the platform, the reach, and the audience. The benching didn't weaken her brand. It hardened it. Fans didn't turn away. They rallied. And the conversation inside the federation shifted from philosophy to damage control. How do you market the future without the face of the sport? How do you justify sidelining the very draw partners expected to headline 2028? Inside the locker room, the silence grew heavier. Players were placed in an impossible position. Speak up and risk falling out of favor, or stay quiet and protect their own roles. Most chose self-preservation. On the surface, it looked like unity. Underneath it was fear. Clark wasn't an unproven rookie. She was already the biggest draw in the game. Watching her be isolated sent a chilling message to everyone else. If this is how the face of the league is treated, no one is safe. Chemistry doesn't die overnight. It erodes under tension, under caution, under unspoken rules. Support became private. Conversations stopped mid-sentence. And Clark felt that isolation deeply. Battling a coach is one thing. Feeling abandoned by the room is another. By the time she stepped away, it wasn't just about minutes or systems. It was about environment, about trust, about knowing when staying costs more than leaving. As details leaked, a darker theory began circulating. That the benching wasn't a mistake at all, but a strategy. Cutting her outright would have caused a public firestorm. Making the environment unbearable achieves the same result quietly. Ice her out. Strip her rhythm. Refuse clarity. Force her to choose between humiliation and exit. It's an old tactic, rarely attempted on someone this visible. And it backfired. Fans didn't see a quitter. They saw a player protecting herself. Instead of damaging her reputation, the situation strengthened it. The narrative flipped, and once that happened, control was lost. What made this worse was repetition. The same explanations were used again and again, even as evidence piled up against them. That disconnect felt less like leadership and more like denial. And denial doesn't survive scrutiny. In today's landscape, every clip is analyzed. Every pattern exposed. When officials pointed to basketball reasons, fans brought receipts that told a different story. Independent voices began questioning whether the program was still committed to putting the best product on the floor or simply protecting its power structure. At its core, this isn't just a personality clash. It's a collision between eras. A rigid system built on hierarchy colliding with a modern star whose value extends beyond points into attention, gravity, and culture. Systems exist to serve talent, not suppress it. When they stop doing that, they become fragile. And the irony is that the very style being resisted is what's driving the sport forward. Fans aren't tuning in for rigid control. They're tuning in for creativity, range, and risk. By refusing to adapt, leadership didn't just push away one player. It sent a message to every young star watching. Now the consequences are unavoidable. Hosting the 2028 Olympics was supposed to be a coronation. Instead, it's a question mark. Without Caitlin Clark, the narrative loses urgency. The spectacle fades. Behind the scenes, pressure continues to mount, because silence is no longer neutral. It's expensive, and there's no clean exit. Reverse course and authority looks compromised. Double down and alienation deepens. Meanwhile, Clark's leverage only grows with every sold-out arena and every spike in attention. The platform needs her more than she needs it. This moment forces a question Team USA has never had to answer so directly. Who actually holds the power now? For decades, loyalty flowed one way. That era is over. Clark didn't slam the door. She simply stopped knocking. And in doing so, she exposed a reality the program can no longer ignore. The sport is moving forward, with or without permission. What happens next will define more than a roster decision. It will define whether leadership adapts to the future or becomes a symbol of resistance to it. And once fans choose sides, there is no easy reset. Now it's your turn. Was this really about chemistry, or was it about control? Did Team USA protect its culture, or did it push away the very player driving the sport's momentum? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let the conversation continue. And if you want more deep, story-driven breakdowns like this, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay locked in for what happens next.